going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazika, Fight Guys, and also a Forbes contributor. And we are talking Adrien Broner right now. Adrien Broner's next fight may already be agreed to. It's at least in discussion. And it's a little bit interesting who Premier Boxing Champions is lining up as his next opponent. Now, I wrote about this on Forbes already, so you may have seen the article, but Broner's next fight is a rumored bout against former featherweight champion Lee Selby. This is clearly a safe, and just I'd have to say smart matchup for Broner, because if you think about it, Broner is 0-2-1 in his last three fights. He desperately needs a win. I mean, he needs a win in the worst way. And if you follow Broner, you see ever since the loss to Maidana, Broner has been a different kind of fighter. He's not as aggressive. Looks like he doesn't want to let his hands go. Looks like he is definitely afraid of getting knocked out. And my theory with Broner is not that he's afraid of the pain necessarily, because I think we've seen, if you pay attention to Broner's career, he has a good chin, takes a shot pretty well, because Maidana can crack, and he took some shots from Maidana, got up, took him, he was dazed, a little light on his feet, leaving out of the arena, but he took the shots in the ring. So I don't think it's that he's afraid of like the pain of getting knocked out. What I think he fears more than anything is I think he fears being humiliated. And a knockout loss, especially for a guy like him, is humiliating. So it's kind of like if you watch him, he kind of has this self defense mechanism at work. So no matter how lopsided of a decision he loses, in his mind, he'll just say, well, I think I won. If you get knocked out, you're not involved in the decision. The result of the fight took place while you were asleep. So I mean, he doesn't have the room to deny or to make up these. I mean, everybody knows he lost the fight to Manny Pacquiao, but he's gonna take it to the grave that he says that he won, right? Felt that he won. So it's just kind of a little game that he plays with himself. But he is a former four division champion. But like I said, he's winless in those last three bouts. He's taking on Selby, who won his last fight over Omar Douglas, and that fight took place at 135 pounds. Prior to that, he was the featherweight champion, but lost to Josh Warrington and lost his belt there. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that Broner is going to be the A side in this fight. So by him being the A side, that means that the fight is going to take place in the weight class he wants and at the venue that he wants. And you can bet that Broner is going to make Selby come up to 140 pounds to fight him, which is two full weight classes above the division that Selby is probably his best at. Also, Selby's never fought outside of the United Kingdom, but you can bet he's gonna fight outside of the United Kingdom on this one. He's coming to probably the Barclays Center to face Broner in what I expect to be a Showtime uh, boxing show, not a pay-per-view. But Broner is still somewhat of a draw. Now, here's the thing: I mentioned how safe of a matchup this is. Selby's 32 years old. He was known as a light puncher at 125 pounds. If you think about it, he amassed only nine knockouts in 29 fights during his career. Just nine. And that's nine knockouts at 125 pounds. I think based on that, it's pretty safe to say that he's going to be even a less of a puncher once he's up to being an overblown junior welterweight at 140 pounds. This is perfect for Broner because he's hesitant to engage. He's hesitant to step in and get into these exchanges. Perhaps he won't be hesitant against a guy like Selby who hasn't proven to have a punch. Now he's taller than Broner, 5'8". Broner's listed at about 5'6". Selby's a bigger guy and from a vertical standpoint, but I don't think he'll be a bigger guy horizontally. If you look at Broner, you'll see he has a wide back, a wide neck, just a bigger guy. And I think you're going to see that in the ring. I totally expect Broner to have his way with Selby. Selby is a slick boxer, but I just don't think he has the power to keep Broner back. Broner still has five fast hands, and if he's fighting with confidence, which I would suspect he would be in this fight, he can still be pretty dangerous. Um, Selby does have something of a name because he's a former world champion. He has to have a decent following in the UK, which helps Broner, helps them basically sell the fight and raise the overall payday for them. Which I think this is the only reason that Selby takes this fight. I mean, if you think about it, Selby, he has to know he's being set up. There's no way in the world he can think he's going to come up to 140 pounds and like have his way with Broner. I just don't see how he could ever think that. So for me, he knows he's being set up, but because Broner does have the notoriety, Broner does have a following in the United States. Selby is still probably in position to make either the biggest or one of the biggest paydays that he's ever made of it in his career. So to a degree, he's probably in there taking one for the team, giving up this sacrifice so that he can create this huge payday for himself. You know, when I think about Broner, it's actually a little bit sad because, and I will be the first to admit, Broner's a difficult guy to like, right? But when you consider that he was one of the top young boxers in the sport just like 6, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, but that lost to Madonna, these legal issues, and what many would call a lack of professionalism have really hurt his career. He Broner started off his boxing career 27-0 with 22 knockouts. That's why people were so hyped about him. That's why people were so like, "Oh my God, Broner's going to be amazing." But after that fast start, Broner has slipped down and gone just 6-4-1 in his last 11 fights with only two knockouts. Now he's still flamboyant, he's still outrageous, so he is going to be a bit of a draw regardless. But if you come to this fight, assuming it happens, expecting to see Broner um, in a really good competitive fight, that might not be what you get. Broner may walk completely through Selby simply because he's just too small. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think about this selection of Broner Selby, whether or not you think Broner's team is going too easy on him. Let us know what you think in the comments. Also, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to click that notifications bell if and when you subscribe. I appreciate you watching as always. God bless and peace.